This really randomly shaped orange looking package is the Rab Microlight Alpine down jacket. Massive title for a really good piece of kit that's extremely popular on the market at the moment. Now that's purely because it performs so well in a whole host of different environments and looks good enough to wear downtown later on in the day after you finish your activities. So for me, this is a tried and tested piece of kit. I wore it up Mount Kilimanjaro earlier this year, and in general, you know, it performed quite well. But whether it's worth the £180 retail price, well, we'll figure that out later. So this is it in its chest pocket. As you can see, it's really quite tightly fitting, and I will say it's difficult to get into there. And when you've got cold hands, which you generally do in an environment where you need an insulating jacket, forget it, it's not, you can't get it in there. I don't know whether it's supposed to be that shape. Maybe mine's got some kind of factory issue or something, I don't know, but anyway, that's it in its chest pocket. Let's get it out and have a look. Now this is a really lightweight piece of kit, and I mean it is lightweight. I think it weighs something like 415 grams or something, or is that my tent? No, my tank doesn't weigh that little. Yeah, that's how much it weighs, let's go with that. But as you can see, I've gone for the grey and the orange, but there's a whole host of different colours out there that you can purchase, which is another nice feature of this jacket, is you can get whatever colour you want. Now I tend to buy insulating jackets too big, and that's purely for the fact that I can then layer up underneath. So when I wore this at Mount Kilimanjaro, I had 4 or 5 layers underneath actually. Usually nice and baggy, but anyway, let's get into the features of this thing. So, where do I start? It has got a fill power of 750 hydrophobic European goose down. Get that under your tongue. And that means basically that the down is purchased in Europe and it's hydrophobic, which means it's basically different to normal down. It's been treated so that if it gets damp or wet, it retains its loft and insulating properties, but also it dries quicker, which is important because you don't get cold. And in general, you know, it's worked quite well. I have worn it out in some showers and it has dried very quickly actually. But the outer covering of this jacket is actually just Microlight Pertex, so it should beat off a light shower, although really, if you can avoid it, don't wear down in the rain. So that 750 down cover is equal on the whole jacket, so 750, 750, 750, 750, which is just nice because it means the whole of your body stays kind of at equal temperature. But it's all packed into these little strips the whole way, all equal, just so that it doesn't accumulate at the bottom and loses its properties up on the shoulders or wherever it isn't. So features of this jacket, well, it's got 2 really roomy side pockets here, and they're hand warming. They really do keep your hands warm. In fact, putting them in there, I'm quite surprised at how warm that is already. And then you've got the chest pocket. Oh, those you could easily fit an OS map in, no problem. The chest pocket, you saw how big that was because you saw the pack size, but again, very roomy, probably unnecessarily roomy, if it didn't stuff into it, I suppose. And then you've got a storm baffle or zip baffle, depending on what you want to call it. Basically a chin guard, so the cold zip metal isn't touching against your skin. And the hood. Now the hood's non-adjustable, but it fits really nicely. And whether or not you can, this is a problem with long hair, whether or not you can get a helmet underneath, I suppose it depends on the size of your head. You've got just a wide peak here, so you can adjust that to whatever shape you want. But that really is good protection from the element. I mean, the elements. I was quite surprised at how good that is. I probably look pretty stupid, don't I? Anyway, so the hood's pretty good. Since purchasing this jacket though, I have found a few things that I'd like Rab to improve on in the future. It does not have an internal pocket, and for me that's a really downer, because when you're in a cold environment, when you need an insulating jacket, your electrical equipment tends to fail or freeze, or it just needs to be kept warm, and that tends to mean trying to keep it as close to your body as possible. Ideally you'd be able to put a GoPro in something like that, but there's no pocket, and for me, unfortunately, that's something you notice when it's not there. And then also, as I mentioned, stuffing it into its chest pocket really is very difficult. But the nicest thing about down is you can just scrunch it up into any shape, stuff it in the bottom of your backpack, and it's light enough just to forget it's there until you need it. Actually, one thing I'll say about down just quickly. I know Patagonia have 100% traceable down in all of their down products. And so I'd really recommend you research where your down comes from if animal welfare is something that slightly interests you, and I recommend that it is, because you want to know where that down's come from and how they've actually, you know, gathered that. So just bear that in mind when you're purchasing a product. I don't know much about Rab and their down properties or down gathering, but I'll have a look and put it in the description if I find anything. So let's show you stuffing it into its chest pocket.